Child labor has always been a big thing in the Chinese takeaway industry, like this.
Fried wonton.
Okay.
An order of fried dumpling.
Okay.
Vegetable chow mein fun.
Vegetable chow mein fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a sweet and sour pork combination.
Okay.
And that's everything.
Phone number?
It's quite common for kids to work front of house in the takeaway because they tend to pick up English before their parents do. And here are some lovely stories from former takeaway kids in Britain.
How old were you when you started working at a takeaway?
Between 6 and 8. First just washing up though, nothing like major. I wasn't actually tall enough, so I had to get a little stool to kind of do the washing up.
One of the things that I did when I was like 12 years old was pushing the containers down with food. Oh. And we used to like, once you go into the frying pan, you dish up by putting it in a container. And as a kid, my job was to sort of get the lids and press it down, which doesn't seem like a big job. But when you're a kid, you think, yeah, I'm a grown-up now. And I just remember how hot the food was because it was so fresh. And you go, oh, like that.
When I was 7 years old, I was peeling prawns. It's a never-ending task, but it's a fulfilling task. You do it for the love of the family.
The least favourite job was peeling potatoes. Me and my brother, we both did that after school. And it was in a very run-down, very basic brick outhouse without any sort of heating or insulation. We'd have to wear thick coats whilst handling knives in the cold, and it was damp. And we could be in there for a few hours before we'd finish.
Sometimes I would really hope that we would get an order wrong, just so that means there'd just be food left over that I could eat.
I think I was about 12 years old, and I was working in front of the takeaway, frying some chips, and we've got this huge metal frying range, 2 massive compartments filled with oil for frying chips at 330 degrees. So I was frying chips, minding my own business. What I neglected to remember was there's a metal lid that covers the actual frying range. I didn't lock it in place, so I was frying away, hand sort of halfway into the actual thing. The lid slides down, before I know it, it's clamped down right there. Oh. I screamed, to say the least, but...
Literally scarred for life.
Everyone's got scars.
Physical scars, mental scars, you know.
Emotional scars.
Emotional scars. When it comes to certain techniques about how to fry fish, especially when you're dealing with oil that's 300 degrees and you're a teenager, you know, you have to... It's a bit weird, like, when you get fish, you have to put it right at the surface of the oil. You can't throw it, because if you throw it, the splashback will hit you. And when we fry chips, we don't fry like a small portion, we fry like a massive bucketful.
Yeah.
And the technique that I was taught is that you're meant to pour it in. As a kid, it terrifies you because you will get burnt and you just think that it's going to splash back at you. And I hated it. I hated working at a fryer. Growing up, I wanted to go out, you know, go out to my friend's house, but I couldn't because I had a job, you know, on Thursday night. And I resented that. I resented the fact that I had to work on a Friday night. Like, if I was going to meet some friends at a house party, I smelled like fish and chips because that's where I've been working.
I'd finish school, I'd go to the takeaway, help out, do my homework, and then that'd be my day done. And then the next day when I go to school, I hear my friends talking about this great house party they've been to. And I'm just like, oh, okay, you know, I was working, but okay, you know, too bad I can't be there.
I have actually been asked out over the counter a couple of times, and that's been a bit awkward because you can't just leave after saying no because you're still serving them.
Has that happened to you?
Thinking back to it, it's kind of creepy because I was really young. I was probably like 16, 17, and there would be this guy that came in. He asked me to marry him.
Is
but,
it?
like, I was like, I can't, I'm 16.
I think I was about 16 or so. I was like, you know, bussing orders backwards and forwards. And there was 3 ladies, I think probably like 35, 40. And they're like trying to call my name, you know, how you doing? And I was like, yeah, it's a bit busy, I'm sorry. At one point I heard them, oh, if I was 20 years younger, I was like, okay. I think I'm gonna stay back in the kitchen for a while.
Did you stay there until they left then?
Oh, yeah, I hid. No shame in that.
There'll be times where, because I was front of the house, that was probably the time where I can do my homework. And it was quite nice that there'll be some customers, while they were waiting, they might peer over the counter and sort of say, oh, let's have a look at your homework. Some of them might sneak in the actual answers themselves.
It's not as special anymore because you can just get a Chinese so easily now. Back then you didn't have a delivery. You rang to collect or you walked in to order right then and there. And it wasn't until I was about 15, 16 and we thought, you know, it'd be really good to deliver. We had to buy a map of the town and stick it on the wall. So whenever someone ordered, we just had to look up on the map, right, where is it? Is it in D7 or E7 and so on? And then you just essentially have to remember the route as well because you couldn't take the entire map with you.
People don't realise how long those places open for. 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock for the lunchtime, but then 5 o'clock is opening time. My parents, they worked until 11 o'clock, and growing up, I hardly see them.
You never felt unloved by them or anything, and you kind of could get why they weren't there, but at the same time, you couldn't help but want them to be around. Where the counter is, there's this empty space, and I used to actually take a little stool. I'd sit there, and essentially I'd kind of come out when it wasn't too busy, and there would be staff that would play with me as well.
When my parents moved to the UK, they opened up the takeaway because that was the kind of job that they could actually get by rights. My dad is a carpenter, and the only thing that he could next progress on was to cook the food, along with my mum. And at the time, the UK didn't have that much of a takeaway business, and this is where we all kind of started out.
My parents worked really hard, just like everyone else is, and I saw that just because I never saw my dad. He was always at work, but I feel that they've given me everything. They've done their best to give me everything, and I kind of just feel like really lazy in comparison to that now. They spent pretty much all of their time at the takeaway, and my mum helped out whenever she could. She had to take us to school and take us to piano lessons and swimming lessons and dance lessons. I feel like they worked extra hard to just fit that all in for us. They've come really far, so I'm really proud of where they are now.
My mother, she stayed on her feet for 13, 14 hours a day, and it really does make you appreciate how lucky we have it, that our parents sacrificed a lot in their early lives to build up what we have now. We were given the opportunity to go to college, to go to university, and a lot of other people were given head starts because of their parents' hard work.
My parents came to this country with nothing. They were immigrants. They weren't really educated at university or anything like that. They didn't have any skills, and if anyone works in catering within the restaurant industry or fish and chips or Chinese restaurant or takeaway, you know how hard it is to make money, and they done a lot to sacrifice their life for us to have a better life.